So today's day 9 of the compassionate response. Well, I'm just trying to do what I can really with the coronavirus. And so we had yesterday. We had a session for about an hour, and last week it was more like 45 minutes. So I think what I'm going to do is to do hour-long sessions now. So there's plenty of time for us to explore all sorts of things. And what I'm going to try and do is do a bit of something that's reflective, that's going to give us things to think about through the day, but maybe a bit inspired. Some body work. So the idea is that we have to keep our body in a good state if we're going to be in a positive state. So the danger is everything just backs up, and we just get our energy gets stodgy, and our mind then gets stodgy, and then we get irritable and those sorts of things. So in a way, it's we're taking responsibility for the world by looking after our body and ourselves as best we can. And I'll say a little bit more about that later. So yesterday I thought it'd be quite good to have a theme for each week, and yesterday I introduced the idea of the Bardo, the state after death, from the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and we had some inspirational verses. It's just disappeared off my phone. There it is. We had some inspirational verses, so I'm just going to start with that really, because this is the theme, and we're going to look a little bit at the 5 Buddha mandala, the 5 Buddhas, because they're involved in this way of seeing things, the Tibetan way of seeing things. So what I said yesterday was that you have this idea of the Bardo. So the Bardo means intermediate state, so it's a state between two other states. So in Tibetan Buddhism you have 6 Bardos. You have the Bardo of life, so the Bardo of life happens between being born and dying. You've got the Bardo of after death, that happens from when you die to, in Buddhism, many people think that you get reborn, although you can only really confirm that in your experience. We can't really know. It's a kind of act of faith, really. And you have other ones like meditation. So when you're meditating, it's a different sort of state, and dreaming is a different sort of state. And the point is that in all of those situations, you have the opportunity to either move towards in a creative direction, which is going to lead you towards enlightenment or nirvana, where you're bringing about happiness for yourself and others through your actions of body, speech and mind. Or you're heading towards what we call samsara, or you're staying in samsara, and you got more deeply involved in samsara, which is just the world of unenlightened experience that we have. And in the Tibetan Book of the Dead, it's said that when you die, you get these visions come up. So the first thing that happens is you get this brilliant, really intense white light comes, and it's the light of reality, and it's so bright that you can't look at it. It's and what tends to happen is we kind of then recoil, it's too much, and then we look for something familiar, and then what happens is these visions come up of different Buddhas, and with each Buddha, and the 5 Buddhas have 5 different colours, you get an opportunity to move towards the bright light of that Buddha. So today we're going to look a little bit at Aksobhya, who's like the dark blue Buddha. So there's this intense blue light will be shining towards you, and then you'd have another light which is more smoky, more dull, which represents the unenlightened response. So it might be toward you get attracted towards getting irritable or hatred or whatever it is, rather than towards what's real. Sort of taking in reality, taking in what's real. So you always have this opportunity at every moment in any situation, whatever bardo you're in. If you're in the bardo of life, you're constantly faced with: do I move towards the bright light of, awareness, mindfulness, being awake, being positive, positive mental states, kindness, all that sort of thing, or do I move towards something a bit more familiar, reactive, that sort of thing? So in the as in the Bardo, these 5 Buddhas appear, and we'll just recoil again. We find the blue light of Aksobhya is too much. It's like, whoa, reality is seen in a particular way, a particular kind of wisdom is there with each Buddha, and then we head towards the the smoky light, the dull light, whatever. And so we're looking for, and I think this is relevant to people who aren't Buddhists as well, we're looking for guidance. We need guidance in this world, because we often just get it wrong. We get it wrong. We don't, we just make the decision to go towards the familiar because it's familiar. It's more comfortable to be with the familiar, and sometimes we need the encouragement to step out of that and move towards the unfamiliar. But that might be actually the thing that is going to bring about a better life for ourselves and others. So in the Bardo we have these. We ask for the Buddhas and their consorts to help guide us, to be with us, and to encourage us to keep going in the right direction. So on Sunday, I gave a little talk about symbolism and how symbolism brings us kind of closer towards reality. So imagination can always take us in 2 directions. It can take us closer towards reality. So when we see a great piece of art like the Sistine Chapel, it's like it's a complete description of the swirling mass of humanity. That's what it's like, isn't it? It's like there's all this stuff, and you can go up, and you can go up, or you go down. You can get. So it's like symbols just can help us move towards reality. Poetry, that sort of thing, helps us to move, to bring in a reflection on how things are, the nature of things that are important. Or our imagination can take us in the direction of fantasy, and we just we watched Mission Impossible 2, which I watched last night up front, as a bit of distraction, and it's very distracting. But it was just a bit of time off from doing sort of lots of work, really, for Buddhism. So so we the imagination can take our emotions in the direction of something helpful. It can help be the condition by which we get closer to reality and closer to enlightenment and closer to the thing that's going to help us and other people most of all. So I'm going to read the inspiration prayer, and I'll do this every day this week. Inspiration prayer for deliverance from the dangerous pathway of the Bardo. So I think it's really obvious at the moment that we're all in danger, and so this is I think this is probably going to be the most helpful thing to maybe think about this week as we get more. As we take the reality in more of the situation that we're in, and try and kind of deal with it. So yeah, some of the words will probably be unfamiliar to some of you, but don't worry about it. Just let the general sense of the text kind of go in, and yeah, and I'll post it onto the page so you can look at it in your own time. Okay, so just getting into your meditation posture, or just being comfortable sitting on a chair. Yeah. So Helen's just saying here, have I got a link for reading about the 5 Buddhas? Yeah, I do. So there's a book called Meeting the Buddhas by Vasantra, and I'd suggest getting that this week on Kindle. Yeah. So here we go. When through confusion I wander in samsara on the undistracted light path of study, reflection and meditation, may the gurus of the sacred lineage go before me, their consorts, the hosts of Dakinis behind me, help me cross the Bardo's dangerous pathway and bring me to the perfect Buddha state. When through intense ignorance I wander in samsara, so really taking that in, our ignorance, on the luminous light path of the dharmadhatu wisdom, may blessed Vairocana, the white Buddha, go before me, his consort, the queen of Vajra space, behind me. Help me to cross the Bardo's dangerous pathway and bring me to the perfect Buddha state. When through intense aggression I wander in samsara, on the luminous light path of the mirror-like wisdom, may blessed Vajrasattva go before me, his consort Buddhalochana behind me. Help me to cross the Bardo's dangerous pathway and bring me to the perfect Buddha state. When through intense pride I wander in samsara, on the luminous light path of the wisdom of equality, may blessed Ratnasambhava go before me, his consort Mamaki behind me. Help me to cross the Bardo's dangerous pathway and bring me to the perfect Buddha state. When through intense desire I wander in samsara, on the luminous light path of discriminating wisdom, may blessed Amitabha go before me, his consort Pandravasini behind me. Help me to cross the Bardo's dangerous pathway and bring me to the perfect Buddha state. When through intense envy I wander in samsara, on the luminous light path of action accomplishing wisdom, may blessed Amoghasiddhi go before me. His consort Samayatara behind me. Help me to cross the Bardo's dangerous pathway and bring me to the perfect Buddha state. When through strong unconscious tendencies I wander in samsara, on the luminous light path of the innate wisdom, may the Vidyadhara warriors go before me, their consorts the hosts of Dakinis behind me. Help me to cross the Bardo's dangerous pathway and bring me to the perfect Buddha state. When through fierce, confused projections I wander in samsara, on the light path of abandoning all fear, may the blessed ones, peaceful and wrathful, go before me. The hosts of Dakinis, queens of space, behind me. Help me to cross the Bardo's dangerous pathway and bring me to the perfect Buddha state. May the element of space not rise up as an enemy. May I see the realm of the blue Buddha. May the element of water not rise up as an enemy. May I see the realm of the white Buddha. May the element of earth not rise up as an enemy. May I see the realm of the yellow Buddha. May the element of fire not rise up as an enemy. May I see the realm of the red Buddha. May the element of air not rise up as an enemy. May I see the realm of the green Buddha. May the rainbow of the elements not rise up as enemies. May I see the realms of all the Buddhas. May the sounds, lights and rays not rise up as enemies. May I see the infinite realms of the peaceful and wrathful ones. May I know all the sounds as my own sound. May I know all the lights as my own light. May I know all the rays as my own ray. May I spontaneously know the Bardo as myself. May I attain the realms of the three kayas, the three bodies of the Buddha. So just having a sense of allowing that imagery to percolate through. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to reflect a little bit upon the dark blue Buddha, Aksobhya. So if you imagine a Buddha that's dark blue with a hand gesture that's touching the earth, sitting on a lotus flower, large lotus flower. And he's associated with seeing things just as they are, with reality. So his wisdom is the mirror-like wisdom, it just sees things exactly as they are. So just trying to take in that idea. And just try to put it side by side with the situation that we're in now, we're all in now. So having a sense that it's possible to try and see things as they are. We have this choice, we can move towards the bright blue light of Aksobhya. It's hard to see things as they are. It's intense. Or, we probably want to move towards the duller light of unawareness. But this is okay, this is just how we are. We need to not judge ourselves about that. It's not easy to turn up to life sometimes. And just having a sense that Aksobhya is, the blue Buddha, is associated with water. So having a sense of water, of flow, of things flowing. And how we often enjoy it when life just flows. And just thinking of what conditions help our life to flow. Often things flow when we're quite good at something and we're engaged in it and we're making some progress and we feel good about that. So can you think of what in your life works like that? What flow? How does your life flow? Are you good with ideas? Are you good with people? Are you good with things like making sure life is fair, You want things to be fair for people. Are you good at having adventures, being out there in nature, and you're a bit extrovert? Just trying to think of the qualities that you have that help your life to flow in that way. What situations do you like? So the danger in this unfamiliar situation is that our energy gets blocked. Doesn't flow. I might be thinking of concentrating on some activities where things really flow. Reading a book, picking up that book that you've wanted to read for ages. Doing some art or something. So Aksobhya is touching the earth. He sort of is in touch with the reality of things. So can we touch the earth around what we're good at, what we're skilled at, what we enjoy most, and try and come from there, come from that place. At least to some degree during the day, do the thing that you really like doing. So that's just a thought to drop in there around flow, around water. And then thinking of your mind and emotions, your psyche as one thing, and thinking of your physical body as another thing. And having a sense of needing to have flow in both those areas, in your mind and body, in your mind and emotions, psyche, in your attention on the one hand and in your body on the other. So you want to have energy that's flowing. And the Buddhist tradition talks about 6 qualities that arise as our meditation really gets going. And in the mindfulness world, there's been a lot of talk about neural plasticity, the way that meditation can just help the mind become more agile and flexible. So these qualities come into being when we really work our body and work our mind. So the body becomes calm, and the mind becomes calm. The energy of the body becomes buoyant. The mind and emotions become buoyant. The body becomes soft. And the mind becomes soft. Mind and emotions become soft. The body becomes adaptable and flexible. The mind becomes adaptable and flexible. And it becomes adaptable and flexible because we're actually working it. We're working both the body and the mind through meditation, through exercise, through reflection, through meditation. And the body becomes proficient or sound, it's able to get things done. And the mind and emotions become proficient, sound. And finally, the body becomes upright, ethically upright. You could think of that as it supports positive mental states, happiness, by having energy and relaxation there. And the mind and emotions are ethically upright. So it's not about being good in inverted commas, it's about what actually happens. They do actually bring about happiness for ourselves and others. So just reflecting on these qualities that are there. Calm, buoyancy, softness, adaptability, proficiency and ethical uprightness. Maybe sort of trying to bring those to being to whatever way we can through the day in our body and then also in our mind and emotions. So we've been sitting for quite a long time here. I've gone slightly off-piste. So just move into a different position. Give yourself a little bit of a stretch. Rub your hands together. Bit of a wash in your face. Down your legs. Down your back. And we're just going to finish by just watching the detail in the breath. You might want to lie down, just to change your position. Just take responsibility, do what you're most comfortable with. Take a few deeper breaths. Feeling the contact of your body with the ground or whatever you're sitting on. Tuning into the sensations in your body, in your hands and your feet. Your face. And just allowing the world of the senses, the five senses, just to come in and just impact on your sense organs, your eyes, ears, nose, tongue and body. And just let that all happen, just receiving the world into a soft awareness. And then just taking your attention onto your breath, onto the detail in your breath. So just noticing a bit of the detail in your breath. You know, what can you say is happening in this moment in terms of sensation or movement? And try to know whether you know what's happening one moment at a time. So if your mind wanders off, just pick up the next bit of detail, the thing that you can say is actually happening to yourself. Oh, this sensation's just there, I notice that there, I notice that there, and that's there, and that's there. Just each moment upon moment, just doing that, just keeping with what's actually there, and not focusing on the detail of anything else. So you need to just really sharpen up your awareness to do this. So we're looking for the reality of what's actually happening here, not a vague idea that we're breathing. Yeah, if you get lost, just pick up the next bit of detail there in your breath. And staying relaxed around that, so you're not holding on anywhere. So now just bringing your meditation to a close by becoming aware of your body and the environment that you're in. And just gradually emerging from the meditation in your own time. Okay, so that's it for today. But before we end, I just want to say a couple of things. So one is that I'll just mention a couple of books. So Meeting the Buddhas by Visantra, really recommend that. So especially this week, we're going to be looking at the the 5 Buddhas, focusing on the Bardo, the Bardo states, and reflecting on that. So if you want to maybe get that on Kindle or something, I think I just had the thought that it might be a good idea to get whatever books you might need for this period, now, because you don't know what's going to happen in the future. We don't know whether the people who are working in for Kindle are going to end up not working there. So I'd recommend that you just try and get your resources in now. Another book is this is really interesting take on Buddhism and Western society, A Buddhist History of the West by David Loy. So yeah, I think for me, I was talking earlier about the idea of flow. Where if we're doing the thing that we're sort of quite skilled at and we're good at, then we feel happiest. So I enjoy reflecting and thinking about things. So I might pick this up and start reading it again. So just have a think, about what books might you want to get, and maybe get them now. What else was there? Oh yeah, on my Facebook Live, I noticed that yesterday all the videos disappeared off it, which was, oh no, what's happened? I was a bit, shocked by that. But what's happened is they've gone into a video section on the same page, but you don't seem to be able to access the videos from a phone. So it's a bit, you can't really. It's not as easy to just watch from your phone. But what I'm going to do is to take all the daily videos, and I'm going to sort of put titles on them, turn them into proper YouTube videos, and I'm going to put them on YouTube and share them on Twitter as well. So I've got them all, and yeah, today or tomorrow, I'm going to end up so I'll put a link for that so you can access them, and it's all going to be organised. So I want to be doing these like one a day for the foreseeable future. So yeah, and it'll all appear on YouTube. So okay, all right. Good luck today, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. All right, bye.